It's game week 19 in the Championship, the greatest league in the world. And here we are, the greatest prediction show, back again. I'm here with my co-host. It's Mark Ryman. How are we getting on, Mark?
Yeah, keeping that mantle of the greatest prediction show going with my sort of 40% average accuracy rate. But yeah, I'm good, thanks, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. I haven't predicted any 7-1s this week, so that's what I say with the greatest. Maybe not the greatest, the most outlandish. But before we kick this off, if you're enjoying the show, the most wrong. There we go. That's it. If you want to subscribe to the most wrong Championship prediction show on YouTube, just hit that subscribe button. I know you're there watching it and you're not subscribed, so why not? Stick around a little bit longer. We do lots of these. It's a lot of fun. Well, we have a lot of fun. Well, let's kick this off then. Burnley versus Middlesbrough.
Okay. My predictions this week, I've decided that my tactic of trying to use past results and everything else isn't working as well as I'd hoped. So I'm going with stupid logic. So just to cut this short, I've gone for a Burnley 1-0 win, and my logic is that Borough don't like Lancashire. So they lost 1-0 to Blackburn after storming everybody else. So I'm going to reckon they're going to go around the corner to Burnley and do exactly the same. There you go. There's my logic. Burnley 1, Borough 0.
That's sound logic. I like that. So I'm also going Burnley 1, Borough 0. Mainly because Burnley, they're so tight. They conceded 6 goals all season. Yeah. They don't score many. It's I think if you take the 4 that they scored against Luton opening day of the season, they're averaging a goal a game. So yeah. So I've gone 1-0 Burnley. Scott Parker masterclass.
Yeah, that was when Leeds and that was when Luton and Cardiff were letting teams score loads against them. Now it's just Luton carrying that on. We're still holding that mantle.
Carrying the mantle. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Charity FC. Right, on to Leeds versus Derby County.
Yeah. I mean, they both lost their last game. Which, yeah, I certainly didn't see coming in Leeds' case. And Derby have started losing a bit of form at home as well, I think. I can't see anything other than a Leeds win here at home, Ellen Road. Their prowess at home is huge. I've gone for a Leeds 2-0 win. As you've mentioned before, they very rarely score more than a couple of goals against sides, even when they're completely dominant. There are some exceptions. So, yeah, for that reason, I think it's going to be a pretty dominant 2-0 Leeds win.
Yeah, so I took my thoughts about Leeds not going for the jugular, and I've gone Leeds 3, Derby 0. Purely based around the fact that Manor Solomon's a bit more in fitness now. What a player he is at this level. And I think because they're going to be in it's going to be quite a foot race with Burnley and Sheffield United. And remember, Sheffield United started with -2 points as well. Yeah. So goal difference might be a factor here. So it might be a case of getting out of second gear, especially with that loss, as shocking as it was, fair play Blackburn for doing that. And Blackburn could have won it more comfortably as well. So it might have been a wake-up call for Daniel Farke and the Leeds team to realise that they can't coast through games in second gear. They got to go for the jugular. So I think they'll start now. Leeds 3, Derby 0. On to Danny Rose, Sheffield Wednesday versus Preston North End.
Yeah, they picked up some form, Sheffield Wednesday, over the last couple of games. Both away games as well. Neither easy places to go. I know Hull have been in an absolute atrocious form. But Derby at home have been pretty strong, and Sheffield Wednesday look like they've closed the door a little bit defensively, which has helped them take some of the points and some amazing goals as well in that time. Preston, on the other hand, drawn a fair few games, haven't won many. So for me, I think at home, Sheffield Wednesday beat Preston 2-1. I know I said that Preston draw games. Obviously, they drew against West Brom, as everybody does. but it's still not a bad result for them. They drew against Sunderland, of course, not that long ago too. So, they've had some pretty impressive results in there. But I think that Sheffield Wednesday's form away from home could be translated back to Hillsborough for this one. Yeah, 2-1.
Yeah, so Preston have drawn 4 of their last 5, with their only loss coming against Pompey, who played up on that occasion. I've gone Sheffield Wednesday 1, Preston 0. I can't look past a packed Hillsborough and Danny Rowe masterclass, really. Preston, is Woodman still out for this one? I think he might be. It was straight red.
I think so.
So I can't see the heroics of that. But at the same time, Sheffield Wednesday might score more. And fair play Barry Bannon for that winner in the other game. Tremendous finish.
What a wonder.
Rolling back the years of the age of 50.
Hairline of 50. Yeah, definitely.
Oh, I'm getting there, mate. I'm getting there. It happens
I'm
as
not
you
that
get
far
older.
behind.
Yeah. Right, on to Sunderland versus Stoke.
Yeah, I think Sunderland at home are going to be too strong for Stoke, who, since beating, I think it was Blackburn away from home, haven't had the best of times. A relatively comfortable 2-0 win from Burnley in the last game. Sunderland lost Sheffield United at home, away from home, which most teams will do this season. So I'm not judging them on that, really. And they still have a fair few players out, although a couple, I think, now back into the side, a couple of important ones, such as Bellingham. So, yeah, I think at home against Stoke, who are still struggling for goals, aren't they? Apart from like Tom Cannon, who either scores like 5 in one game or none, they don't tend to score many, and that's going to be a problem because despite the amount of draws in the last few games, Sunderland is still a very dangerous side going forward. So for that reason, I've gone for a comfortable 2-0 win to Sunderland.
I've got a bit tighter here. I've got Sunderland 1, Stoke 0. But it does depend entirely on whether Stoke City have loaded up the cannon or not. If they haven't put the cannonballs in, then Tom Cannon will not be firing. That's enough cannon punts.
I think we've covered all of them. We're in one go there. Well done.
But look, both, like Sunderland's four draws on the spin and then a loss. Stoke, they have that win against Blackburn, then 3 draws and a loss. So both teams coming into this with bad form. I feel Sunderland just have so much more about them, and they will be able to. They'll be able to grab the win here. They need to cut that sort of poor run of form, in their opinion, and sort of get back into the race, because they've lost a fair bit of grounds. Like there was a time I think they were 5 points clear at the top, and now they're 5 points behind Sheffield United. So they got to step it up. They really do.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same as this league, though, right? It doesn't matter how far ahead you are. You tend to get clawed back a lot of the time. Look at last season and how tight it ended up being towards the end. At one point, it looked like there was no way anyone was going to catch Ipswich, and it got pretty hairy at one point towards the end of the season. So it's always the way. And as you say, injured players coming back will help. But I think this is the game for them to kind of start stamping their authority back on the league a little bit.
Right, so on to Cardiff City versus Watford. I've gone for a 1-0 Cardiff home win here, mainly because Watford don't travel too well. Yeah,
they don't, do they? I mean, I don't think they've been as bad away from home as they were at the start of the season, but that 2-2 away draw against Plymouth is looking worse by the week, I guess. So I don't know whether that equates to a loss. But yeah, I've gone for a 1-1 because I can't pick it, because Cardiff's form has been absolutely terrible as well. Having said that, really good point away from home against Cov in their last match. So and scoring 2 goals in the process. So yeah, no. I find this one a toughie. 1-1 though. Interesting.
And strictly bias aside, regarding that 2-2 draw against Plymouth. Andre Gray, my lord, Andre Gray. Bias aside, obviously. On to Hull versus Blackburn Rovers.
Fair play, Blackburn. You said it earlier. Absolutely fair play to Blackburn. Brilliant result for them against Leeds. And they did it the week before away from home at Riverside against Borough as well. So, 3 wins on the trot now for them, only conceding 1 goal in the process. They look back to where they were at the start of the season, and my initial league prediction of them finishing bottom is looking sillier by the day. And they certainly hold my hands up. I thought they were going to implode. I mainly blame the Venkies for that, though, to be fair. I thought that they would lose more players than they did, and that's clearly not happened. But yeah, no, they look excellent, and they're keeping teams out of the back as well. Hull, on the other hand, what can be said? They have been awful. They've got to be the worst form team in the league. They can't be, even Plymouth's recent results aside. And obviously they're managerless. I don't know whether that really helps them too much in this game against a Blackburn side coming off the back of the 2 results they have. I can't see them getting anything. I've gone for it being relatively tight. I've gone 2-1 Blackburn.
Yeah, so last week it looked like Hull were going to bring in Slavisa Kanovic. This week it looks like they're going to try and get Ruben Sellers. I think that's a good appointment. He has, considering the type of football that Tim Walter had them playing, I think Ruben Sellers would be a very good fit there. But I've gone Blackburn 2, Hull 0. I can see this streak of misery just being prolonged a little bit longer. And yeah, I thought Blackburn would struggle at the beginning of the season as well. I thought Smodics would be a massive loss, but they've replaced him with Ohashi, and Tyrese Dolan as well has stepped up big time. Big time. He's such a player. He really is.
Yeah. A few of their players that weren't performing the season before are back on it now as well, aren't they? But yeah, they've been brilliant.
Right, on to Luton Town versus Swansea.
Yep, another edition of the misery watch at Kenilworth Road. So I've gone for 2-2 on this one because, again, I can't call it. I think it's a tough one. Luton showed some signs of that it wasn't even meant to be a pun against Norwich, of doing a little bit more in the game than they certainly did against Leeds, but that's a pretty low bar. Swansea also have lost 2 of their last 5, I think, and then drew at home to Pompey. They don't concede many, apart from that Leeds game, as you corrected me about in our match preview, you're right. Leeds game probably swayed it slightly for me. But yeah, 2-2, a repeat of their last score, I think, for this one.
I think it's interesting you've called a Desmond here. I can't see beyond Swansea coming, dominating possession, and winning. I did say in our match preview, though, that I thought Luton would score first and then Swansea would, come back into it. But I've gone 2-1 Swansea. To be honest, the game could play out completely different, but I mean, in terms of who scores when. But one thing that is for certain is Swansea going to come, they're going to dominate the ball, and Luton are going to be chasing shadows for a big part of the game, unless everyone across the board has eaten a big dose of humble pie and they're ready to focus on the football and play ball.
It'd be nice, wouldn't it, in game week 19?
Our season starts now.
Starting not in the now. Prem. 46 games, guys, not 38. Come on. Yeah. Terrible. Oh, well.
Right, on to Millwall versus Frank Lampard's Coventry.
I don't care who's Coventry. 1-0 Millwall. Done. It's done. Millwall 1-0 every single prediction. This is like my Sheffield United at home prediction. I think we'll see. We will see how he gets on. There's a bit more time with the players. I can't look past Millwall winning at home at the moment. I really can't. I know that they've drawn, I think, 3 on the bounce now. I don't care. I'm still predicting 1-0 Millwall. They only concede the odd goal though, don't they? It's only single goals at most. But Coventry love a 2-2. So I should have really predicted a draw. I'm still going Millwall 1-0. Yeah.
Well, Millwall looked quite shaky at the back against Oxford. They tried gifting Oxford a couple of goals, funnily enough. I've gone 1-1 here. Because I do think if Millwall were a bit shaky at the back, they haven't got too much pace at the back other than Tanganga. If, Mason Clark or, Bassett, someone from the Cov team with pace have a go at them, or they gift a chance, I reckon, blushes could be spared for Frank Lampard. Like, regardless of whether I think he's a good manager or not, I think they'll have enough firepower to nick one here. One of the funniest things, though, was in the extended highlights, and it was only extended so they could get all of Frank Lampard's reaction shots to the game. Otherwise, it'd be like a 2 or 3 minute highlight package.
Just him going from extremely happy to miserable. Yeah, exactly. Get used to that. Like you say, whenever the Plymouth and Cov fixture comes up, if indeed Rooney's still in the job by then, that'll all it'll be, both sides.
They won't show the ball in play. It will just be
they won't.
Manager shots. Yeah, it will just be Lampard exactly and Rooney, picture in picture. Oh, yeah. Well, from Frank Lampard to Wayne Rooney, it's Plymouth Argyle versus Oxford United.
Yeah, so I've kind of tried to buck the trend. I mean, he's been given an ultimatum, which is interesting, isn't it? He's basically got, allegedly, of course, yeah. I mean, no one's going to actually come out and say that, I wouldn't imagine. Pretty rough conceding 10 goals in 2 games, isn't it?
Don't know what that's like,
yeah. No, well, exactly. I mean, 7, we're flying high, aren't we? Only conceding 7 in the 2. But yeah, 2 tough games as well. But yeah, I've gone for a 0-0. I think both teams are pretty out of form. Oxford got a draw against Millwall in their last game, but they've been conceding goals for fun as well. It would be typical Championship with all of these goals going in for it to be a 0-0, and so that is my logic. It's the Championship curse is going to go for this one, and it will be a stalemate. Both teams need to stop the rot.
So Plymouth are absolutely ravaged with injury. Like they sold Mike Cooper, and then their new first choice goalkeeper Connor Hazard, he's injured for a while. Yeah. Ibrahim Sissoko, who absolutely destroyed Luton.
I did.
He's injured. Morgan Whittaker's injured. But I still think the players will play for him because, Wayne Rooney, like, who wouldn't want to play for Wayne Rooney, regardless of whether he's a good manager or not? He had them playing good football. Maybe it's like the game I watched them intensely was that Luton game, and they look like superstars. They look like they should be challenging for the playoffs from that game. But I think Luton just made them look like that. I've gone 1-0. Oxford don't travel well. Ricky Dembele's out, Louis Sibley's out, so who knows? I think Plymouth could do it. It depends if the players really do want Wayne Rooney managing them. That is the issue. But I'm backing him. 1-0 Plymouth.
Yeah, be interesting.
It will. And also on the south coast, Portsmouth versus Bristol City.
I've gone for a Bristol City win after we've just talked about Plymouth and Bristol City smashing them, and Portsmouth getting a reasonably good draw, right, against Swansea. So the last 4 points they've gained for the last 2 games has been much better upturn in form for them. I just think they're coming up against a strong Bristol City team. And Portsmouth's home form is inconsistent. That 3-1 against Preston is sort of at odds to how they had been playing at home. Whereas Bristol City, they've got a couple of good results away from home. The Norwich City one stands out, doesn't it? But so for that reason, I've gone for a 2-1 Bristol City win.
Interesting. I've gone 3-1 Bristol City. They are like crazily inconsistent, but I feel they'll probably get a win here before losing the next two. That sort of seems to be the pattern that they're conforming to at the moment. But I feel for Pompey because it's a big step up from League One to the Championship, and they looked like they were doing all right for the first 7 games, and then they got the hard ones out of the way, and now it's sort of like a massive letdown reflex for them. They're just struggling now. I feel bad for them.
Yeah, it's when the intensity of this league starts hitting, and the injuries have started hitting Pompey as well. I think that it's same as all teams at this time of year. Depth of squad starts to tell, doesn't it, as well?
I don't know what depth of squad is, mate. But let's go on to bias aside. This is an impartial podcast. On to QPR versus Norwich. I'll shock you here.
Yeah.
Do you know what I've gone for?
You've gone for a QPR win. You've gone for a 2-2.
No,
okay, you're not going
I've
to
gone
shock me
2-2.
that much. Yeah, I've gone for 3-1. So 4 goals still, but just split slightly differently. I've gone for Norwich City 3-1. Actually, it's difficult because there were so many errors by Luton against Norwich. I mean, you could argue 3 out of the 4 goals were absolutely schoolboy defending. The 4th goal was poor in terms of concentration. Norwich gave Luton their first goal as well, not to forget. So it's difficult to say really on how well Norwich and Luton played. I think actually, I was at the game, I think that Norwich certainly didn't look like, world beaters there. They looked like they could be got at. So I can understand the 2-2. I really can. I think, but they are really confident in front of goal. And they make the most of the chances they get there. And although, he's still got his goal, he wasn't really in the game as much, Borja signed, as long as you've got him on the pitch, it's difficult to bet against Norwich scoring. So yeah, I've gone 3-1 for this one, but yeah, same amount of goals, just split differently.
I'm pinning a lot of hopes here on the fact that QPR have had a little resurgence. They're 3 games unbeaten, a draw, a win, and a draw. But who knows? Like they might keep all 3 points at Loftus Road. You never know. You never know.
You never know. No, that would be a turn up though.
Right, on to our final game: West Brom versus Sheffield United.
Yeah, I might shock you here. Or maybe not. Who knows? I've gone for a West Brom win. Yeah, I know. And, they don't win very much at the moment. I don't know. There's no real logic behind it either. I mean, Sheffield Wednesday, dear oh dear, I'm going to get absolute pelters for that, aren't I? Sheffield United are winning games to 0 most of the time for fun. They drew against Coventry, probably should have lost that game, I think. But were pretty convincing in their last couple of games at home. Away from home, it's slightly different. I don't know. I just get a feeling that Corburn's going to start getting some results on the board now, and it's that really more than anything else. Just a gut feel. Yeah, 2-1.
I feel really basic now. I've gone West Brom 1, Sheffield United 1.
Yeah, I mean that's almost certainly going to happen. So you can call it basic, but that's the right prediction. Yeah. Mine's just silly, but I just want to mix up a bit.
I never know. Right. Well, who's your lock of the week then?
Yeah, I'm going to go for Sunderland. Let's get the Sunderland fans back on board, shall we? I'm getting Sunderland 2-0 against Stoke for my lock of the week.
Right, and I'm backing Wayne Rooney to get win 1 of that alleged ultimatum. So Plymouth 1, Oxford 0. That's my lock of the week. Who knows? Who knows?
Strong.
Yeah.
Strong.
But as always, if you've enjoyed this championship prediction video, please subscribe if you're still here. And also, we do championship roundups as well, live in the pub. It's a lot of fun. Come join us, subscribe, and join our journey as we go through this season. But as always, whoever you support, have a great week. And it's almost match day. So have a good one.